So my name's Chris Green. I'm a resident of Adelaide in South Australia, originally from England. Spent a lot of time living in France, racing in France, working over there, speak fluent French, and for the last 7 years I've had the privilege of taking a number of Pro Tour teams out on their training rides around the Tour Down Under and also overseas in Europe as well. The team usually will do a good 6 or 7 solid training rides, which will involve looking at the parkour from a number of different perspectives on different stages. So the great thing about the Tour Down Under is we can incorporate looking at 2 or 3 parkours for the stages in one training session. That would usually be between 3 and 5 hours at a time, and always in the morning. Local knowledge of the roads and being able to interpret the maps for the director, who quite often comes from overseas and has English as a second language. A lot of the riders as well have limited English, and being a fluent French speaker, sometimes that helps with communications too. So I guess there's a lot of lateral thinking and being able to make quick decisions and think on my feet and try and keep everybody happy. To be honest, the type of tempo and pace that these guys will do on a training ride is nothing more than I would do with a good standard A-grade bunch down in South Australia. The only difference being when these guys do their efforts or their specific training up hills, that's when they will really open the throttle up, and I'm just an interesting spectator at that point, which is good. In the 7 years that I've been doing this role for the Tour Down Under, I have not had one cyclist who has not enjoyed his time in South Australia and has indeed wanted to come back. From the road perspective and the scenery and the parkour, it's incredible. We've been very lucky this year with the weather. We've had none of the extreme heat that we had prior to the riders arriving, and also that we've had in previous years. So from that perspective, when you've come out of a cold European winter and you get to 25 degrees, 30 degrees, it's absolutely optimal for the guys to be able to train. Jens is a fantastic guy. He's a wonderful ambassador for cycling, both on and off the bike, for Trek as a brand as well. And he's been here 3 times with the team when I've taken them out training. He's a great guy, very funny, consummate professional. You notice that when I eat with them after the training rides or in the evenings after the racing, he's Mr. Professional, goes about his job in a very serious manner, which is great. And certainly the last 3 years, you can see the younger riders on the team will watch what he does, and he will give his advice, and people pay attention to what he says. Wonderful guy. So I've tried to use the experience to my own benefit as well, just to see how people interact with each other, just to see what it is that these high-profile champions do to sustain their level of commitment and their ability. Because a lot of what happens on the bike, you can transcend into your normal everyday life, and it can actually be very empowering. My day job, my profession, I'm an intensive care registered nurse. Fortunately, so far, touch wood, whilst I've been with the Pro Tour teams here and overseas, my skills as a clinician have not been called upon, which is obviously a good thing. But I think my role, Brooke, has a lot of hospitality aspects. I look after the sponsors of the team, both on rides as well, and also in the evenings after races. So I think the crossover from being a nurse and the interpersonal skills that you gain with the public and patients has very much enabled me to be able to talk to people off the bike, and that's something I've really benefited from too.